I want to prove that I'm not really second. I have never actually watched this Nicole Kidman and Jimmy Fallon show. Let's try to watch it. 한 번도 안 봤어요. History 없어요.
손맛을 빚어내다. 비비고 진한 고기만두.
I don't really understand that much about what they were saying.
나로 말할 것 같으면
I never repeated any of this.
토스트 현미
You can always check out my history.
You remember this? We met before.
Oh, I remember.
How did you remember that we met before? And what's your idea about this? Can you actually bring this first meeting between you and I to recollection? It's really easy.
Do you remember this? It was really embarrassing for me.
Do you remember this? It's really embarrassing for me. Can you actually bring it to your recollection that you and I actually met before? Tell the truth, and I would feel very much embarrassed because if you ever actually can recall this, because there was a little issue that might actually put me to shame. I don't really know what Jimmy Fallon would have probably want to say.
It was?
Yeah,
Do you want me to?
I have not seen you since then.
I have not been seeing you since then. That means, that was the last time that I ever encountered you, because there was a little bit interesting moment per se. And after that, Nicole Kidman never actually, saw Jimmy Fallon. And whatever that episode might be, I have no idea. I don't want to listen to it.
I've not.
Right?
That is correct.
No.
But this is years ago, and do you want me to tell my version of the
Yeah.
story?
This happened years ago. And Jimmy Fallon said, do you want me to actually tell my version of the story? Do you want me to actually, do you want me to hear my side of the story? From my perspective, this is, what happened. You want me to actually hear this? You want me to actually bring it to you?
You tell your version.
Oh, yeah, you too, your version. Yeah.
I'm walking down the street in New York City.
Yeah.
My friend Rick calls me and says, dude, what are you doing? I go, I'm just walking down the street. He goes, I have Nicole Kidman with me, and she wants to meet you for maybe to be in Bewitched or something like that. So I go, what? Okay. She goes, I can be in your apartment in like 10 minutes. I go, you're going to bring Nicole Kidman over to my apartment? I'm like, okay, I don't know. What do I do? What do I have something? What do I do? He goes, I don't know, just get some cheese and crackers or something. And I'm like, cheese and crackers? What are you talking about? I don't have dinner party. I don't have anyone over my house. I'm like, I have video games and sneakers. I mean,
You know what? He was actually walking down the street, and he's a friend of Rick. Rick actually made a phone call to him, so he picked up the phone, saying that, "Hey, what are you doing? Is nothing much. That I have, Nicole Kidman with me, and I can actually be right over your apartment within 10 minutes. That's what this Rick guy actually said. He was thinking, oh my gosh, what? That means, what do I need to do? I probably, what do you have? I probably have a cheese and crackers, and I have a sneakers, and I have a video PlayStation game, and so forth and so on. And he said he was actually completely perplexed. So, what, Nicole Kidman? I can be actually, in my apartment, right back to my home, just within the minutes. Can you actually are you going to actually bring Nicole Kidman with you? Are you going to take her to my apartment? Well, this is a really very confusing situation. Was that really a candy camera? I don't know.
so I go, there's a deli, and I go in the deli. I go, what do you need, cheese? He goes, get brie or something. I go, brie? I don't even know what that is.
You know what? So, he's a friend actually, said, why don't you actually go to deli? He was actually thinking about, I don't really have much to eat, and cheese and crackers, so probably that would be a great idea. His friend actually said, why don't you actually get brie? Cheese brie, B-R-I-E. He actually said at that time he had no idea what brie was. Probably he was just somewhat exaggerating. I don't know. He was thinking, oh my god, what brie is? What? I don't know. Let me actually go get some delicious one at deli. This fancy groceries like Zabar's probably.
I'm like, so I go in. This is like I'm on Saturday Night Live, I guess, or something. I don't remember really when it was, but
I just remember I liked you, and he was like, not now. I'm married now. But he was like, oh, well, you can meet. I mean, I just.
So right now, she's married. And everyone is married in this conversation, but at that time it was not like that. There could have been, a certain there could be certain instance more than just hanging out, and there could be a little bit more than that. He doesn't actually even remember what went after that. He doesn't actually have a proper recollection of what truly happened to him between Nicole Kidman, Rick, and him. I mean, because this is really kind of fudgy, and this happened years and years ago.
It's not that way.
Of course, you know what? It's nothing like that. Not that way. You know, there is nothing sexual and no indication of something bad for sure. She just really wanted to actually suppress that type of misunderstanding for sure.
Wait, what's going on? Wait, what?
So he says,
Wait.
so Rick, our mutual friend, says, oh, you know, Jimmy wants to meet you and you can go over to his apartment and da-da-da-da. And I'm single and I'm like, okay, yeah.
You know what? Rick is definitely a mutual friend for these two people. That means, you know what, this acquaintance would be shared in between, right? So, you know, at that time, Rick actually suggested that my friend, quote unquote, my friend Jimmy Fallon wants to meet you. Do you want to actually come by his apartment? Do you want to actually hang out at his apartment for a while? Jimmy Fallon really wants to meet you, Nicole Kidman. This is really a very remark from a guy named Rick. Rick is, by the way, a bridge between these two people because Rick is really a friend for Nicole Kidman and also Jimmy Fallon. So she actually said, and at that time she was single, so it's really like, okay, it's not bad, you know what, there is no serious attachment to anyone, so it's not a bad idea to at least, you know, hang out and have a fun time, but there isn't nothing sexual that much indicated. It was nothing like, you know, hottie night, no.
Wait, what?
Yes.
Did you guys really hang out?
What are you talking about?
Yes.
No, you know, Jimmy Fallon completely denied any type of indication about the romantic relationship or romance up in the air. But Nicole Kidman said, oh, you know, there was definitely a little tincture of romance, if that was possible, because she actually accepted that invitation, saying that, since I'm single, I can actually really go to, a bachelor named Jimmy Fallon, probably. You know, that was what she had on her mind, but there was nothing sexual immediately. But, you know, she never completely excluded the very development of a romance, tell the truth, because she was thinking, oh my gosh, you know, come to think of it, I'm not really attached to someone, I'm not hanging out, I'm not going out with someone, so probably I can actually go to Jimmy Fallon's apartment to have a fun. You know, that's not really a terrible idea. You know, that's really the very notion. That means, you know, she never actually completely eradicated seeds of romance, right? Right?
Did I date Nicole Kidman?
Jimmy Fallon now actually realized that Nicole Kidman had a little interest to come by his apartment in romance. So, you know, he realized that, oh, was that really kind of a date? Did you actually consider me an possible love interest? Was I ever being considered by Nicole Kidman as a possible love interest? Oh my gosh. Did you actually come by my apartment with the very thought of, you know, possibly developing this relationship into something romantic, if possible, or if probable? I had no idea. I thought that you just actually visited me for fun, with nothing serious at all. Of course, she had no sexual intention immediately. It's not really nothing come hither, lurid, or racy relationship that might sparkle immediate flames, for sure, definitely for sure. This is nothing like that. But she actually, you know, had a little underlying condition. Since I'm single, since I'm not actually seeing someone, oh, that's not really a bad idea, since our mutual friend Rick suggested this idea. Maybe I can actually hang out at his apartment. I can actually drop by his apartment. But this could actually go either way. She never actually ruled that out. Jimmy Fallon, at the last minute, realized right now, after many years, he realized that, oh, she actually, you know, came by with a little tincture of interest in developing this relationship to the next level. If that was possible, that was a quirky moment. He realized that she never completely irradiated the very possibility of going out with them. Yeah, he was once upon a time a potential love interest for Nicole Kidman. That was really the reason why she actually decided to go to his apartment when their mutual reciprocal friend, she heard a friend named Rick, somehow made this recommendation. Oh my gosh, he just realized that. he was completely flattered. He couldn't even actually think of that kind of audacious idea. Hollywood star like Nicole Kidman somehow actually wanted to be part of my life. That was all the reason she dragged herself into this shack. Was that what happened?
Did we go
I
on a
go
date?
over though, and you're there.
Did we go on a date? Oh my god. Was you actually part of was you actually my date on that day? You actually consider me as your potential partner? Oh my gosh, you actually decided to hang out with me, go out with me for a night. When you actually came to my apartment, you actually have that kind of thought? I never realized that. Oh my god, I couldn't even actually muster up such a plucky notion that Nicole Kidman, Hollywood diva Nicole Kidman, would ever actually perceive me as a possible love interest. Oh my gosh, what the heck went on my mind? I didn't even realize that kind of possibility. He actually was really shocked.
In a baseball cap and like nothing, just like.
He was a really like goofy bull. He was wearing a baseball cap, and he never even actually, had that kind of audacious thought. So he actually wasn't humble looking. He never even dandied himself up. He never actually smartened up his look. Oh my gosh, you know what? He later actually realized that maybe he was actually overacting. Maybe he just really wanted to make it much more dramatic. I don't know. But you know what? That was the last thing on his mind. He couldn't barely think of the possibility that Nicole Kidman somehow, a little interest in him. If things are really good at the night, then he could have actually, picked up by Nicole Kidman to build up on a love relationship. That was, possible. At least that type of potentials were sawed. Oh my gosh. So, he didn't even actually trim himself up. He didn't actually do anything. He was so very, humble looking. He was actually, very in shabby form, wearing a baseball cap, probably carrying like trousers, like maybe wearing a sweatsuit, or even actually, in the worst case, he might actually wear a hoodie. Let's try to listen to her.
I had brie cheese.
And you wouldn't talk.
I had a brie cheese. At least I had a brie cheese ready for you. You wouldn't talk. He actually at that time remained very taciturn, reserved. He was not at all talking. It's not at all that much chatty at all.
Say anything, you were like, hey.
He was very shy at the time. I think, he was pretty much starstruck by the appearance of Nicole Kidman. She's like a deity, right?
I'm very nervous.
I was very nervous that he admitted that. He was dumbstruck by this emergence of a real life deity, Nicole Kidman.
I'm like, okay.
I didn't know this is a thing. I thought this was a
like
movie.
a hang.
I kind of actually thought this was part of the movie. Because, she would normally be part of the movie, not in a real life appearance. That would not be, so close to him and up close and personal. So he was completely emotionally reserved, out of shock. Because, that was something he would have probably never expected to see. Right?
It was meant to just, I don't know. And then you put a video game on or something.
He actually put a video game on. That means that he actually, just played a video game. He actually set up on the video game. That means that he arranged the setting for playing video game. Maybe that was a great icebreaker, he thought.
And I'm like,
That was really the, you know what? She was like, oh my god, what the hell he's doing? Like, she didn't even actually say that, but it was very obvious, right? Oh my god, he's doing something very silly, like in setting up the video game. That's really embarrassing. What a damper. You know what? If you ever actually think of meeting this guy or seeing this guy as a romantic partner or possible love interest, you know what? You could actually, make up something with them. That kind of expectation wasn't reserved from Nicole Kidman's perspective, but this guy really kind of kidult, the young adult, who's just all of a sudden sat up video playing. That was a hack of disappointment. That completely ruined such an passionate feeling she could have had if and only if he had acted properly, like a gentleman, or if he actually had a modicum of a thought for a romantic mood, but he couldn't even actually dare to imagine that. So he acted slightly in a clumsy way, like klutz or social wallflower, probably, who had no idea how to tune to someone else's dance song, or who would actually know how to dance to someone else's tune, per se. He was so embarrassed. So please do not reveal any further. Do not reveal any more information further, because I don't really want to actually go over that details right now. It would be so embarrassing, because it sounds really like an autistic wimpy kid who couldn't actually get along with the woman, because he was so nervous, and he actually had no guts to think of her as possible girlfriend, right? She could have been actually something serious if that date night had a turn for the better. But he couldn't actually even dare to perceive her as that type of love interest or a date. So he acted somewhat clumsily. He blew it up. Technically, he actually made a mass blunder. So that put a wet blanket on Nicole Kidman's interest in him, technically. That ruined the night.